Hey everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel. So today I am working at the workhouse and I have some assistants with me today. See that? So when the roof went bad in the valleys, it was dripping down into the soffits and into the eaves. So this spot was particularly bad right where this whole valley was, and basically what had happened is they did not use ice and snow or tar paper under the asphalt shingles. Nothing, just shingles. When they re-roofed it, they just went over it, never went back and repaired any issues that were going on, so it just kept going and getting worse. So this is what we've decided to work on today. You can see it's a sunny day, it's in the mid-40s, and it's going to be for a couple days during the day. We did what we could from above, so you can see from some of the wood deterioration that we've had to do some creative thinking here. So to create a new nailing surface, you know, he just scissors up a new 2x4 here to create a nailing surface for this corner piece, and then he'll do the same thing here in this section. We've already gone through, and we were fortunate. It seems to have happened at the corners. Now on this one, there's nothing bad going on here. There was no water damage, but right here, that board is bad. So he can cut this a foot or foot and a half back and line that up and close that. You can see a hole right there. That's where the cable used to come down from having a satellite dish up there. They had run it up through the attic and had it on a post here in the corner. So we have them reroute it here. It's coiled up on the ground and around through the back of the house in a better location. So we fixed up this corner last week. You can see that. I've already gone through and painted all of the eaves while the temperatures were warmer in the 50s and 60s. You can paint when it's this cool. It just doesn't cure in the amount of time. You want to do it as earlier in the day while the sun is up. So this side here, of course, there's lots of shade and it doesn't go well. I don't know if you can see that up there. We've got a nice fire going on the inside of the house to warm everybody up and keep it nice and toasty for free without paying the gas company for any fuel. And we just had our little lunch breaks. So I thought this was a good time to do a little video and show you guys all what's going on. If he'll allow me, I'll do a little bit of videoing to show you how we are doing our soffit repairs so that it can help you with your soffit repairs. Hey Bob, it's vibrating the whole house.
Well, it'll be better in a minute.
I'll take the vibration for the end result. Can't leave that in there. Knock it off.
You can leave
The
it.
corners are dripping terribly. I picked out the old stuff and put in window caulk, and it did nothing. So you're just straightening up a line for where the 2x4 that's going the other way to go?
That was in tough shape on the corner, so I measured it to go all the way. Now it's all good.
Yeah.
And then I can go into that piece like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's all so I don't have to, because
yeah,
the whole thing, I mean,
it's all one piece. Yeah.
You know.
Wow.
It wasn't a big area.
That's 12 feet maybe. See here?
Oh no, it's like 20 feet. I don't know.
Well, we're getting it. A little bit. Let me see here. Oh yeah. Good job. Well, it's getting colder and it's getting dark early. So this is very slow fiddly work, and if you have this project to do, don't count on rushing through it. This has been an afternoon of fiddling and measuring and, you know, sistering up boards. And partly it's a matter of having one type of nail on hand and not another. Now for us, the reason for not changing out the entire board is we're trying to not be wasteful. We're trying to do this on the cheap and be frugal about it. But the other thing is there is a trim piece that goes along the entire edge, and this sets up in there a ½ inch to an inch all the way around the entire house. So trying to get things to fit just right that way, you know, maybe it would save time, but we're being able to do all of our repairs with less than a sheet of plywood. This is 3/8 plywood, and I think it was $18, where when we did other projects, we were spending, you know, $20, $22 for sheets of ½ inch plywood. So the prices on lumber are coming down a little bit right now, but this is a good way to do it. Well, as usual, he gets busy doing his stuff while I'm doing mine. He's got it all trimmed out. I put just a layer of primer over it. You can see the patch, and that is going to be like a huge eye catcher. Like he said, no matter what you do to it, you see a black line. I've got some wood filler that is made for exteriors, and it dries hard, almost like plastic. I had him cut it a little bit more there, so I'm going to patch in that area, and then the whole thing will be less noticeable once the wood filler's in there to fill that patch spot in. You know, you can't like drywall mud it and make it invisible, and he didn't want to have to mess with the whole piece because of the light. It just gets to be a huge job. That's a noisy guy. So just to show you kind of what happened with this corner, when we were working on the roof, he had found out that this rafter had been broken from the time that the house was built. So he's going to fix that. He said that somewhere, I guess the guy had notched it and it broke. And I stepped back and I noticed this must have been leftover material from a staircase or something, but he has notches here in this one, so he's going to probably reinforce that. He's got to add another 2x4 here so that he's got a nailing surface to nail the next sheet of plywood to, and he's going to sister up a board there just to reinforce where the two ends come together, because this guy did not line anything up when he built the house, and he's had to put like a shim strip that's maybe a ½ inch the whole way so that it would line up with where he had the 2x4s coming out here, when he could have just lowered that header for that.
I think he changed his mind.
So husband says he thinks he changed his mind as he went along or something.
Something happened because he had to do that the whole way. So what? A couple hundred feet of that.
Right. So, you know, it's a wood soffit, and a lot of people have switched to vinyl so they don't have to mess with repairs and things like this, but we'll let the next owners do that. This isn't the original siding on the house. He said that there's blue underneath it, so probably aluminum siding, or is it wood? Okay. Oh, masonite or wood siding underneath it. Probably masonite with a wood grain, which is really great because that stuff is made out of like concrete type material. Mason, get it? Masonite. So it doesn't burn. This plastic, you know, it gets hit with a rock. He was doing some tree trimming work in the back, and you know, you get little issues. If a trick that I saw Tom Silva do on this old house, when somebody had a hole in their siding, they took a section from behind a bush and swapped it since they couldn't get a match, because this has been exposed to daylight and sun UV rays for years and years, so you can't really get a match on that. But it's coming along. We're getting all our repairs done and been going around painting and following up behind him. So, I'm just on standby duty right now when he needs help holding up longer sections or big pieces. And looks like he's got a little more framing work to do. It is slow, fiddly stuff, isn't it? He's a good handyman. So this is as far as we got last night, and fitting that stuff up is so slow that it's just impossible for me to stand out there filming him for the amount of time that it takes. Like I said, it is money savings doing it this way, but it is slow because originally that was all one piece of plywood, and because of that we have the seams. So you can see there's quite a seam and a bit of a gap. So I found this Durham's rock hard water putty a long time ago. It is very similar to Bondo. If you've ever worked with any kind of Bondo, you mix it with an activator, blend it together, and then it turns into a substance that hardens pretty fast. So with very little water, this just mixes up and gets to a nice, like a drywall mud consistency, and you can use that to fill in those gaps. And I am using my floor scraper to help spread it because I can work with it backwards for upside down. And then I've just got my drywall mud knife. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a little more of that. It helps fill in any dips, any little cracks and imperfections in the plywood. And then I can get a coat of primer on this after it dries a little bit.
So I just wanted to show you this up close. Where it's dark is where it is thicker. It is actually dry. And yesterday I let it continue to dry because I didn't get up on a ladder. We were sharing the ladder. And I went over the other area and sanded it today. So I'm going to hit this with the electric sander. Sanding that by hand is really hard to do. And I will tell you ahead of time, if you're doing staining, it does not take stain, but it will take paint just fine. So yesterday I primed my board and filled in the edges with that putty. Today I've gone through and sanded it and put a second coat or an actual coat of paint over it. So I'm going to go over, hit this area over here. Tomorrow is supposed to be the last warm enough day to be able to do this. Maybe, I think it said about 4 days I was going to get another over 40-degree temperature day. So it's real important to hurry up and get this done. I've got an hour of daylight left before the temperature starts to drop. That's the very last of that. I'll come back in a couple of days for another coat of paint.